Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal into the Night on the Late Late Horror Show. I am Dino as always, and yes, it is a new show. Whether it's live or a classic that has never been on the channel before, I would think the classics are just as enjoyable. But I've had some great guests on in the past. But the guest that was supposed to be here had some stuff come up. This is why this is so hard for me to do, Paranormal into the Night. When I want to get it off the ground and keep it flying and going, it's sometimes very difficult to get guests, and uh, it's not his fault because stuff came up. But I'm still going to do a stream, and I would ask you guys. We are going to talk cryptids a little bit here. Throw your paranormal questions at me. You guys don't know that I've had a paranormal background for many, many, many years. I'm an empath. I've done many, many things, and I can answer a lot of questions if you have them. So please feel free. And if you have something you want to say and want to jump on the show, let me know too, because I can put the link out there. So that's what it's going to be. But yes, hello, Derek Galloway. Not even going to do the intro tonight. What the hell? No intro needed. As it seems, if it's nobody might not even know it's live. They're like, is this live or recorded? I'm not sure it matters, but hey, Derek Galloway, it's okay, bro. Not your fault. Yep. Richard Speaker. Good to have you, Derek. Good to have you, Richard. Connie Clary. What's going on? Ethan Terrell. Let me see who else is in there. Ed Stathis. Good to see you. Well, see, I just got back from somewhere and checked the email. It said, sorry, couldn't come. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the whole spiel, but yeah, just couldn't show up. So I'm like scrambling going, who can I get on? Is there a guest out there I can reach out to really quick? And no, I couldn't get anybody real quick, but we will still talk about Bigfoot and other things. So there you go. We are all here for you, Dino. Thank you, Black Roses. Ted Navarro, what's going on? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Hopefully people start flowing in. Listen. Lots of interesting things we can definitely talk about. Angie Mora. What is going on? Angie Mora, somebody new on the channel. I haven't seen you before, but there you go. Maybe he got lost in IKEA like I did. Yeah, you were talking to me about that. I thought that was really funny. Martin Wright. Hey, what's going on? Black Roses. You can get lost in IKEA, and whether it has to do with aliens or not, I have no idea. But anyways, let's start talking. And if somebody actually does want to join, and tell a story or what they think of Bigfoot, I'm going to put the link in here, but you need to specify who you are, okay? And with video, if you come on and want to tell a story, because I need to know who's popping on the stream. So I am going to put the link there. If you feel like you want to come on here and talk to me about the paranormal or cryptids, listen, the stream's about cryptids tonight, Bigfoot, and there are some interesting ones I do want to talk about. But yeah, feel free. Here is the link. Jump on if you want to. Hey, Dino, I was listening to an old episode of Art Bell on here and heard you call in. There you go. All of a sudden, I was like, I know that guy. You betcha, Nathan Tiberius. You got that right, man. Was it the losing my mind line? Is that what it was? But I've talked to Art Bell a couple times, especially when he went off the air and started up Midnight in the Desert. That's when I kind of really got into talking with Art Bell, which I'll never forget because, he was the legend for sure. And yeah, it's what got me into, well, no, I've been into the paranormal since I was a little kid. I've dealt with hauntings and paranormal activity at a young age, and it carried on through my teen years. And then once my grandparents kind of passed away, the activity went away. So I think that the paranormal stuff, the like ghostly apparitions and sounds and cold spots and all of that. I'm not sure how much of you guys have heard a lot of this, but yeah, Dino, was in your favorite cryptid and why? What is my favorite cryptid and why? I would think that, listen, Bigfoot's up there as everyone's favorite cryptid, I would believe, but cryptids, dragons are kind of classified as a cryptid, and they are, you can find them in folklore. Folklore has a lot of cryptids in them. You could talk about dragons or elves or gnomes or mermaids or fairies. There's a whole fairy kind of elemental type thing that at one time people believe were plentiful on this planet, until us humans started to take over the space. But there is still so much space out there that um, things are being discovered every day. So, hello, Harry Scott. What's going on? Nathan, I loved Art Bell. He was like an old friend in the middle of the night. Yes, he was. That's what I loved about it. But good question, Black Roses. It would have to be a dragon. I mean, again, just the history and the lore of the dragon is, listen, I love Game of Thrones too, so you could throw that in there. But I would also say gnomes are kind of, they're considered a type of cryptid. They're in the realm of cryptozoology, a little bit more folklorish than not, but I love gnomes, just the fact or the idea of and listen, I've seen one, but that's whether I talk about that again on this show or not, I'm not sure. But definitely seen one. And the tunnels under the ground, I've just been always enthralled with that. um yeah, it's just been crazy. Let's see, always love dragons. Yep. Hey Dino, what are your thoughts on the Patterson 8mm film? Have you ever seen it? Yes, the Patterson Gimlin film. I believe it is not a hoax, even with all the controversy around it, where people came forward and said, I forget the guy's name who worked on Planet of the Apes, but he came out later years to say that he let it be. The rumor started with him, and he let it go. He said it just helped his career. Hey, you make some, it just, that's the way it goes. But lots of things have been pointed out in the Patterson footage, especially the muscle tone, the breast of the Bigfoot, the female Bigfoot that is walking away from the camera very slowly. I think everything about that, to me, just feels real. And then when you get into the experts who talk about the actual muscle movements, you can see in the calf muscle, the back, when he turns his neck, you can see these things. And the way the weight is dispersed in sections of the body, you just can't. It's just, it's silly to think that that's somebody in a suit. A lot of people still do believe it's a hoax, though. Listen, I'm not a person who I see. Listen, I was thrown off without having a guest tonight. But oh no, I'm sorry. But wait, hold on. I got a aren't good for me. Okay, yeah. No, I was reaching out to somebody, but it's okay, Edie. I was going to have Edie on again, but anyways, Adam for Christ, what is going on? He's a friend of the family, and it should be a fun time. Derek, I'm going to be on Carl the Crusher podcast this Friday at 9 with a family member. We are going to be showing videos of extraterrestrial craft and UAP craft that is military. Listen, Derek, if you want to pop on here, here's the link. You can pop on here if you want and talk to me about it. How about that? Just click that link. It'll bring you here and plug your show if you want, whatever. Horror Junkie, what is going on for life? Meow. Good to see you. No guest tonight, just me here talking Bigfoot and taking questions. If you got anything you would like to talk about, I'm free game. I've had lots of experiences in my life, and there's things we can talk about. There's one thing I'd like to talk about. I am going to go through a list of listen, they consist cryptozoology consists of hoaxes, extinct animals, animals from folklore, animals right now that can't be caught, like the Bigfoot, or if they are caught, they are swept off and taken away, just like a lot of the alien crashes that happen out there. You know, the government or whoever, Men in Black or whoever, retrieve these things before we are able to identify them or find them. So it is tough. Hey, Horror Junkie, thank you for the $5 super sticker of a pear lying on his side, raising his arm while saying, "How's it going? How's it going, my friend? Good to see you. Helping others. I heard you can see a zipper along the waist of the Bigfoot of the Gimlet film." If you helping others, if you believe that, or if you've seen a picture where you can actually see a zipper, you email it to me, because I've seen every footage, every different angle, every shot, every picture, close-ups. If somebody doctored in a zipper, then you send it to me and you let me know. But again, I can't stress enough, if you look at the original film, all you have to do is look at it and see the bone structure, the muscle tone. Hollywood can't do that now. They just can't do that. The breast alone, how you can see things move, it's not a fake. It's real. And if you don't want to believe it, that's fine, But if you're asking my opinion, 100%. Derek Alloway, brother, I would, but my wife is at my mom's and I got my son and daughter here with me at the house, but I'll give you an email for another time. It's no problem, Derek. No problem at all, man. Yeah, not a problem. You know what is a funny thing as I start going through some of these. Listen, there's discredited, there's unconfirmed, but every single day there are sightings of Bigfoot and cryptid-like creatures every single day across the globe. So how can you deny the fact that something is going on, right? Something is going on. What it is, I think it's still unclear, because again, all of these cryptids, most of them, we don't have concrete evidence other than video footage, stories, reputable people saying they see it. The amount of sightings that we see every day, it's just too much to be, just a coincidence or just a lie. It just is. That's just my take on it. Again, just like the whole UFO conspiracy, if we're not allowed to get to these things quick enough before they're hauled away, that we were talking about Art Bell, me and Dave Plouffe, not long ago, about the gentleman who killed two Bigfoot, whatever, and they were scared they were going to get put in jail for shooting this thing dead, and so who knows? Who knows? Let's see. There's no way that was fake, especially way back then. No, Derek. Exactly. And there is There is something to the footprints in the castings with the ridges of the foot that you can't duplicate with heavy fake footprint stones or whatever. It's there's something to it. So, hey WWM, happy Monday to you. How is that Bigfoot can hide from humans for so long? We seem to have moved into every since. Listen, horror junkie, I'll tell you a couple things about that. It is a good point. It is a good point, and it is one that I question a lot, but there is more open land and wilderness. All of the population on this planet, they're condensed in cities, big cities. There is so much open land and land that is still, think of the Appalachian Mountains, the whole northeast part of the United States. It's still undiscovered. People, you can't travel but 2-3 miles in the Appalachian Mountains, which takes up the whole northeast section of the United States, not to mention the Pacific Northwest. Same thing. There is so much wilderness there that you go a mile, 2 miles in, you're lost. You're lost. So, and if you take a plane from one end of the country to the next, and you're looking down on the ground, you will see how barren most of the country is. And I'm just talking US. Think of Canada, Russia, Siberia, even Australia. The population of people are so condensed in local cities and towns and the big cities for sure, that this world is very, very undiscovered yet. There are way too many places these things can hide. If you go down to your local park, I'm talking about like a state park or something like that, you just start walking in there and you look off to the side, off to the paths that you're walking. You look off to, and nobody ventures off for the most part. You get hikers that go hiking and venture off wilderness paths and stuff like that. But if you go and you look off to the side into the wilderness, most people do not do that. It's untouched. There's spots like 100 yards in the distance on paths in the parks that have never had people walk on it. I mean, that's how crazy it is. So people haven't ventured into nearly every part of the world yet. They just haven't. Listen, I'm not going to throw out a percentage, but there's a large percentage of land that just is not walked on. You got down in the Texas Panhandle and Louisiana Panhandle down there. It's the land in the wilderness is so boggy, swampy, and so vast, and many, many Bigfoot and wild man sightings that have been reported for many, many decades. Way too many places. To get to the other point I was going to make with that horror junkie, if you want to venture off into other like ideas and what else could it be, then people also talk about cryptids or Bigfoot in general to be somewhat related to the whole UFO thing, the whole alien thing, the kind of interdimensional kind of thing going on too. So there could be that going on too. And I see everybody. Hey, Sean, what's going on? Good to see you. Winging it tonight. Winging it. Caught off guard, but hey, it is what it is. You got to keep going, right? So yes, interdimensional. And I say that because lots of Bigfoot tracks that you find inside where there's, somebody just spotted a Bigfoot and it's snow covered. They follow the footprints, even in the mud. And there comes a point a lot of times where the footprints just disappear out of thin air. And this is where we get into the interdimensional thing, or even Skinwalker Ranch. We're kind of learning a lot of interesting things from that show in particular. For many years now, many decades, the people in the paranormal field understand that there are certain energy portals across the globe. A lot of theories out there are that they open up to a different dimension. They open up to let things in or let things out. So there is that aspect to the whole Bigfoot phenomenon. I mean, it could be that they're coming in and out of portals. Bob Bigelow, the former owner of the Skinwalker Ranch, and he started up a group called NIDS, National Institute of Discovery Science, and they did all kinds of research on the property, and they set up cameras. They the night vision scopes and cameras that were running, and they said they had footage of through the infrared camera of a portal opening up and a being coming out and walking slowly into the woods and disappearing. So portals, listen, science kind of has thrown us that bone and said, yes, theory says there are wormholes, right? In space, black holes we got. But portals could be a thing. They've proven and said through mathematics that there are different dimensions. So with that said, those are a couple of different things that can be said as to why we haven't found a Bigfoot yet. I'm still in the same boat as you are. You know, I think we should be able to find something, but you got to think logical, and you got to think about all the ifs, ands, or buts, you know, and what's going on behind the scenes. Even the chupacabra, that little chupacabra thingy, that they started to talk about, that was down in Puerto Rico and south of the United States and northern South America. Right between there is where all of the chupacabra sightings started. And initial thoughts were that this was something that escaped from a facility. So could have been something like that. There are research facilities all over the country, all over the planet. Do some of these things get loose at points? I mean, we already know that weird, strange things are going on behind closed doors, right? The whole cloning thing, those are facts, you know, and who the heck knows what they're actually tinkering with? Let me get back to the chat. I don't want to miss anything anybody's saying. Let's see. Look at the Indian folklore. Good point right there, Connie. As far back as Native Americans, they have in their own folklore passed down centuries. You know, they have these Bigfoot-like creatures, you know, shape-shifting like creatures, wolf-like creatures, dogmen, whatever you want to call them. But we've come up with so many different names on what a lot of these creatures or cryptids or beings are. And, you know, Native folklore talks about all of those things. And to this day, if you talk to a lot of the elders in a lot of the tribes, they will still talk about what has been passed on, which are creatures like the Bigfoot who inhabited the areas that they came to inhabit first. They've been there as long as they've been there, they've said. So that's got to lend some credence to there really being something to that too. So, you know, on one side, you got this line where on one side, it all sounds so silly, so unrealistic that creatures like this are out there and, you know, walking on this planet. Again, and then you got the other side, right? where, okay, they're out there, they're being spotted, they're being sighted, but are they technically inhabiting the earth? That's the other thing. Um, are they popping in and out of dimensions, going in portals? Are they uh, just avoiding us through places we just don't go, like deep in the woods? I mean, it's simple. Um, are they, is there an alien race that comes down, drops these things off and picks them back up? Who the heck knows? There's also this whole under the surface of the earth. If you start going that route, if you go into a cave or a hole anywhere on the globe that has been uninhabited or people just don't go down into, people talk about entire civilizations living under the crust of the earth, and that's totally doable too. And that makes a heck of a lot more sense also because it's such a vast area. If we think there's so much area on the earth's surface, think about inside the earth's surface and how much can survive within, right? So if they have a bit of intelligence and they can evade us or avoid being seen, or listen, they're seen every day. So once they're spotted and the person runs off or has a cell phone and says, we gotta, you know what I mean? They're gone, so it is tough. It is tough. It's tough to find a bear out there, right? I mean, you guys know that. Infinity Stone, what's going on? CM, good to see you. Okay, let me get to some of the chat. I will answer questions best I can. And here's the link again, just in case somebody does want to pop on with me and have a story or something like that. Anonymous, good to see you. Trying to find out where I left off. Only 50% of all species have been discovered and defined. That's what they're stating, Ed Stathis, and you are correct because they are finding stuff every day. And where do they find these new creatures every day? They're deep in the jungle of the Congo, in Vietnam, and in Asia over there. We're finding stuff all the time. It's because human civilization came to a point where money became a big thing and everybody needed to live. Okay. So everybody, for the most part, gets up in the morning, goes to work. When they're done with work, what do? They come home, they eat, they go to the store, they watch their shows. Before you know it, it's bedtime. A lot of the real good sightings come from people who aren't connected to technology, are living out in the wilderness, or are out hiking or doing something like that. So getting lost amongst everyday life, that kind of hides everything, I mean, if we ever, we've talked about this before with UFOs. It's like, how many people actually look up to the sky, right? How many people actually look up to the sky? We're going about our day-to-day business and we don't look up. If we took a little bit of time each day just to look up, who knows? The chances may be bigger that we spot something that's just unidentifiable. So who knows? Let's see. Not to mention the oceans that are unexplored. 100%, Derek. The oceans are another thing. I mean, you talk about land, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You talk about underneath the crust of the earth. A lot of people talk about hollow earth, but what could be down in there? I was going to talk to our guest about dinosaurs too. Dinosaurs are spotted still to this day. There are some spotted in the depths of the Congo. And if you go, I remember somebody going to interview a tribe that was deep in the Congo, and it's known by everybody there of the dinosaurs that walk along, deep within the, the wilderness there. And they talk about this like it's nothing. So and then like he said, the oceans, that's way more vast than any continent or landmass that we stand on. So we're not even touching that. That we can go into, of course, whales, and I mean whales are known to exist. We know that, but there are certain other things that are in the ocean that, like the Kraken, like even Loch Ness monster, which who the heck knows? Everybody's got their thoughts on certain things, but anyways, let's see. Let me keep going. Thank you, Ed Stathis. I don't know about that, but I'm trying. Listen, I've been doing it most of my whole life. So, I know a little bit about some stuff. So there you go. Let me see. Who else is in the chat? Anybody saying anything? No, it's great. Appreciate it. The Wendigo. Yeah, listen. And those are classified in the same area. I mean, you can classify so many different things in with Bigfoot or Mothman. I don't think there are many sightings of Mothman to this day since that original spree of sightings, but there are similar sightings of other types of creatures which they say could be the same thing as the Mothman, which no, the Mothman was, I think, a whole different thing. There were paranormal things that were happening around the Mothman. Owlman, yes, Owlman, look him up. Thunderbirds, I think a little far stretched. I think the Thunderbirds, I don't know why they get confused with the Mothman. I think just because of the big wings and how, they say about 5-6 foot tall, the Thunderbirds, and they've picked up children in paths. I mean, and tried to fly off with them. We've had reports of this, whether there are real giant birds out there bigger than eagles and hawks and stuff that are thunderbirds, which also, again, in folklore and native folklore, they are known, at least at one point, to have existed, and they still are reported to this day, very infrequently. You don't get a whole lot of those sightings today, but they're still being seen. So I think they're kind of in that kind of category. There's even been, listen to this, and I've got to read this real quick because I never knew of this one. Have you guys ever heard of Squatch? Squatch. I guess you know what I'm talking about. A Bigfoot with wings. A Bigfoot with wings. What is a bat Squatch? The bat Squatch is a flying cryptid that was allegedly seen near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. It resembles a flying primate similar to the ahul and the orangbate of Southeast Asia, which is another type of giant bat. And its name is a portmanteau delivered from the words bat and Sasquatch. A witness allegedly took several pictures of the creature. However, these pictures have not been analyzed and thus cannot prove the creature's description. The sighting was in April of 1994. I could go on reading this, but near Mount St. Helens. So the bat Squatch, can you imagine it? I mean, along the lines of, and I was interested to talk to Ronald about this too, gargoyles or flying humanoids. That I think is a totally separate thing. Oh boy, will I have time to talk about that? I was also going to say the state of Bigfoot at 2023. the state of Bigfoot, talking about its relevance right now. Are people still seeing just as many Bigfoot or similar creatures? Every single state has a name for it. In Ohio, it's the grass man. I think it's the skunk ape in Florida. Every state has a different name for it, which goes to tell you too, they're being seen everywhere. But just as many sightings, if not more, in 2023 or 2022. Let's go back last year. Just as many sightings now as 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, yes, still being seen, still going strong, but we still have not caught one. So, anyways, let me get back to the chat. Derek Galloway, Dr. Melba Ketchum just was on a podcast, and she has done studies on Bigfoot DNA. Fascinated what she discovered. You can see her studies in World's Bigfoot Radio. Really cool. Derek Galloway. Yes, that's the other thing with Bigfoot. I think most people who are interested in Bigfoot or the Yeti or Sasquatch or whatever you want to call them, there are many hair samples taken from sighting areas of sightings that they've been in, and people have taken hair samples, gotten them tested, and a lot of the DNA comes back unknown primate, humanoid species type, so tons of, you can call that evidence. I mean, it's inconclusive because we don't have a Bigfoot. But when we get the hair analyzed, we do find out that it does come back unknown primate. So it has some DNA, some similar strands of both ape-like species or human-like species. So there's that. So yes, 100%, Derek. And lots and lots of evidence. Harry Scott says dinosaur. He's got a dinosaur emoji. Yepers, you better believe it. The thought of dinosaurs deep in and listen, when we're talking dinosaurs, you immediately go, well, their heads would be poking out of trees, and you would see them like 90 feet long. Listen, not every dinosaur that has been on this planet, and we've got bones like the Brontosaurus, T-Rex, such as stuff like that. We know that they were giants, but they were giants hundreds of thousands of years ago, or sooner if you want to believe other people's theories. But it does not mean that there are not smaller types of dinosaurs, like the size of an elephant. I know the ones that are known to exist not known to exist. Listen, calm down, chill out. I'm just joking. The ones that are supposedly in like the Congo region. Well, here, let me say this. Here we go. Cryptozoology. It's a short little paragraph, is a pseudoscience that studies and searches for animals and other creatures whose existence is unrecognized or disputed by science. Although it's unlikely that many cryptids exist, this is what they're saying, science, there is a possibility that some do. In fact, have you heard of this? Hogzilla? That's right. And the Congo elephants, two cryptids believed to be hoaxes, were proven real by National Geographic, Cryptobotany, the study of plants that are... So it came out of folklore, and Hogzilla and the Congo elephants ended up being, these are real species. These are real. And to my point of there being dinosaurs the size of possibly elephants or pygmy elephants living deep in the woods of like the Congo or in the Amazon still, which there still are reports. Go look them up. If you got some free time and want to search up dinosaurs in the Congo, dinosaurs in Amazon, you could find a lot of interesting stuff on that. But yes, lots of things out there that we just could still be out there, and they don't necessarily need to be so giant that the ground stomping a continent away, right? So, but that's where your mind originally goes to, right? A dinosaur. We'd know if there was a dinosaur. Listen, they couldn't find the Congo elephants, but they did. Anyways, let's see. Let me keep going. Well, Derek's got another question. Here we go. Portals are real, especially since CERN has restarted and they have Hydron Colliders everywhere around the globe. I'm not sure how many Hydron Colliders. I know CERN in Switzerland. I know there's that giant project that they're working on. I'm not sure how many places. I don't know if it's all around the world, that they got them all over the place, but they do have one that I know of. And yes, the Hydron Collider is, the theory is that they're moving atoms so fast and colliding the Hydron Colliders together to make an instantaneous black hole, just a little portal, little opening, for a split second, not even. But this is what they're telling us in the open. So what's going on behind closed doors, who the heck knows? I don't think the ordinary folk like us have any idea what is really going on out there. We really don't. This is why we live in our I won't say make-believe world where nothing goes on except get up every day. And listen, a lot of people believe that. And, a lot of people believe a lot of different things. And I understand 100%. I've been doing this enough to know that I know that there's something going on out there. There's way too many paranormal things going on and sightings and things like that. But anyways, let's continue. But yeah, Derek, I'm not 100% sure on how many of those are, but I would think you'd know. You seem to have some knowledge on it. But spaces between the multiverse, Black Roses, getting deep into theories that I couldn't even explain. All that, although when you talk about the multiverse and different dimensions and there's a thing. Look up Michio Kaku. He talks about string theory, and it's very complicated, but very well explained by him. It's called string theory, and it's a concept of these dimensions. He basically goes on to say, and this is, again, like Einstein, like other scientists, Stephen Hawking in the past, mathematically, they work through these theories through quantum physics and other things that we couldn't even imagine thinking of or talking about. But string theory, it's the breaking off of dimensions and time taking different paths and breaking off to create a different. Listen, it's too deep to get into, but I think you understand what I'm saying. The multiverse is a real thing, I believe. It's only theory, but if you listen to what they say, we are at our infancy as human beings. And think about it. 100 years ago, we were just starting to make film. We were doing radio, movies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, we had film, many years before that. But just where we've come from 100 years is ridiculous. Now we've got a phone, a little phone or tablet, which holds all the information at our hands that we can possibly, want. So that alone, that little fact should get you thinking, like, how have we been here for so many years? We can go back talking about ancient Egypt. We can go back and talk about cavemen, if you believe in that, because listen, there is a lot of people out there who there is still that missing link. We've got Lucy, we've got some bones, there's no in between. I'm just saying, scientists will say it, look it up, missing link, what's going on there? Who the heck knows? But the fact that however long we've been here, it's just really been the past 100 years, if not the past 50, that technology took off, right? Think about that. Just let that settle in and go, yeah, that's strange. We were like this, and then boom, anyways, let's see. We've come a long way. Considering how horrible humans treat things they don't understand, it's probably best that we don't find a live Bigfoot. Horror junkie for life. Yes, but it would be nice to find a Bigfoot for sure. Because if we find it, we know that there's more to everything. Like the more facts you can get behind everything we're talking about, like, that deals with the paranormal, and Bigfoot's there, the Loch Ness Monster's there. Can you imagine us actually finding the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie? One day we do find him and we're like, this is an ancient dinosaur. Holy heck, it's living. We found other prehistoric creatures in the ocean that are giant, not quite like Nessie, but we have. Hey, Cyber Pup, what's going on? What are you laughing at? What's going on? I've met a few missing links. Ed Stathis. Yeah, my brother's a missing link. Okay, I got you. But yeah, no, Horror Junkie, I hear you. The human race is not. Black Roses. I am partial to the alien chupacabra, not the Mangy Dog Theory. Oh yeah, no, Mangy Dog Theory. I have no idea. Well, I have an idea why they went that direction, but when that whole chupacabra came out in the news, okay, it was this little golem-like creature with even like little feathers but long claws and these fangs, and looked kind of almost more bird-like, but totally different than a little bit later on, after all these sightings started and people were finding, like on their farm, like fangs with blood sucked out from, which is what the chupacabra, the original, and then stories started getting released about these could be from a facility down in, again, was it Brazil? Was it Puerto Rico? I think it was Puerto Rico. And this got loose, and they were trying to track it down, and whether they found it or not, who the heck knows? We don't know the story behind everything. And the next thing you know, on Discovery Channel, on Travel Channel, on every paranormal channel that does their shows and stuff like that, the next thing you know, the chupacabra is a mangy, dark, weird looking, kind of, not even weird looking, like kind of coyote, kind of like a dog, like, running down the street. That was the one video that I looked at, and I'm like going, how do they think that's a chupacabra? Because looks nothing like what people were reporting. Nothing whatsoever. But it goes to show you how easily the news can come out, or it's called misinformation. Okay. It's the reasoning behind misinformation is to change the public's opinion and change their mind on what they're seeing. If everybody's talking about this weird creature that is on the loose, that's got claws, skinny, looks like kind of like a golem looking kind of creature, bird-like creature. And then, oh my God, what are we going to do? And it got out of our facility. What are we going to do? Throw out another story. The minute you throw out that other story, you've already got half the people going, oh, it's just a dog. And they turn off the news. They stop watching whatever shows they're doing. And they okay, that's the answer. That's the answer. No. That's called misinformation. They've done it over the years with, listen, a big one is Roswell. I mean, a really big one is Roswell. They've done that over and over and over again. And that's why they come up with the statement, how many times do you need to hear a theory on the hoax that is Roswell? Because NASA has come out with at least 3 different more than that. It was the parachute, the weather balloon. There were crash test dummies that came flying down, and those were the bodies of the aliens that they said they came out in, oh my God, what year did they come out with that? That was maybe a decade ago they came out and talked about that. Why NASA, after something that happened way back then, decades later, would have to come out and say, listen, I mean, can you imagine the people in the room talking and saying, we still need to try to figure out how to throw people off this Roswell situation because they're still talking about it. So NASA officials came out and said, crash test dummies came out of a plane and landed, and that's what they were. And they kind of went through the whole process. So ridiculous, it's not even funny. So ridiculous, it's not even funny. But that's why we have the term conspiracy, which most people think is ridiculous. And honestly, it's so easy just to make people turn their heads. Because when you hear 2 stories, the original and then another one that somebody made up, and it seems more plausible, they'll just go with it. Because like we said, who believes in monsters, right? Who believes in monsters? I started watching a series, and I would recommend it because it's a really good series it's on Amazon, but it's called From, From. It's called From. That's it. 2 seasons. I'm episode 3 in, and it's just about, it's very complex. It's throws you off. It's very oh God, what would you call it? It's a very good horror, creepy, eerie horror movie, but it's about monsters and the mind and real people. Like I don't want to give too much away, but the fact that there's so many monster movies out there, that alone also can be misinformation and throw you off. It's like, oh, it's a monster movie. I don't believe in monsters. It's, oh, the Wolfman. No. These things have been cited. Paranormal activity of, like, we know, again, this show, we won't focus on ghosts and that kind of stuff. But, as I'm talking monsters, there is something to the whole ghost thing, the shadow people, the demons, the Hat Man, which, by the way, I seen the Hat Man and I saw shadow people back when I was younger, during the time that my grandparents were alive, along with voices that would happen in the house that they lived in. It was a very spooky thing, and it was something to this day I'll never forget. And unless you go through it, you just don't believe it. Don't believe it. Let me get back to the chat, see if anybody has anything else to say here. I'm partial to, okay, got that. The Rougarou from the Swamps, Ethan Terrell. Yes, listen, Ethan, the Rougarou from the Swamps. That's another thing. swamp areas or boggy areas, which are all down throughout the Everglades, throughout that whole southern coastal region, into Louisiana and Texas. People don't think of Texas, but Louisiana and Texas down up over there, they have so much swampy, boggy area that who the hell knows what is in there? There have been so many creatures throughout the years that have been spotted in those areas. Giant snakes, giant anacondas. I mean, needless to say, a lot of those areas today in 2023, those are areas that pets have been just discarded. So thrown into nature like that and getting gigantic snakes, or we know about the crocodiles, alligators, stuff like that. Alligators. But there have also been the panthers, and 63 at one point I know were actually counted panthers in the Everglades. So that population is there, and the mysterious panther sightings are a thing because they've been let loose and the population is thriving in that area. But that's another area that is very, very well known for. Any area that people just don't go to very often. It is prime real estate for this kind of stuff. Meow, meow. Love to y'all. Best wishes, Stephen. Good to Overkill. Good to see you, Overkill. Let's see. There are cave systems. WWM. Yes, there are cave systems. There are cave systems. The hollow earth theory, infinity stone. I'm still so infatuated with the hollow earth theory and the fact that throughout the years, we all know about the early part of the century where, again, that's for another show, but there was an expedition headed to the Arctic, coming across the big, gigantic hole in the ice where they said it was a warm place. They actually ventured down in there. It was a warm place, and there was this light that it was glowing and emitting. And we know in the deepest depths of the ocean where there is no light, creatures make their own light. Plants make their own light. So it is not beyond any theory whatsoever that there could be great big open spaces within the earth that creates its own heat, temperature, animal life, light. There was a form, I forget, listen, I don't know technical terms of plants and stuff like that, but I know there were giant mossy type substance that emitted a glowing, almost white light in some cave systems. Can you imagine what could grow in miles upon miles of open area within the earth with vents, plants that would circulate the oxygen, and it's totally plausible. I love that theory. And a lot of people, listen, I'm not going to go too deep, but bye, Black Roses. I'm off to bed. Work in the morning. Love y'all. Love you, Black Roses. Good night, Jody. Definitely good to see you. A Night Fright Talk Show. Good to see you too. Oh, and overnight tonight, you guys, we do have Tales of the Texas Rangers, stream number 2. It's taken me a long time. It took me over a year to get to the next Green Hornet, which I did the other day. Superman, I think it was a year and a half. Did that the other day. Tales of the Texas Ranger. This is just stream number 2. There's roughly 91 episodes, I think, out there. So I have enough, I think, for another stream eventually down the road. But overnight tonight, it'll be stream number 2, Tales of the Texas Rangers. A very good show. Again, this stream, you guys, thumbs up, please. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It was a little rough go here. I'm sorry that I wasn't prepared for the show. I should always be prepared just in case a guest can't make it. I should do that, but it is a reason that I've kind of stood away from paranormal, and that I don't do it so often, but yeah, continuing on here, let's see what everybody else has to say. Definitely love the hollow earth theory, though, Infinity Stone, and it's a very, very cool theory to dive into because it's very plausible. Ed Stathis says Bigfoot would have to be the most elaborate hoax ever perpetrated if you consider its beginnings early 20th century, before internet and the telephone, yet sightings worldwide. How? Ed Stathis. Exactly. I mean, listen, I think we covered it to death. I mean, I don't think much more needs to be said about it. I mean, yes, you're 100% correct. It's been an ongoing thing for as long as we know. I mean, like I said, Native American folklore. You can go anywhere in the world. You will find, paintings on cave walls. You will find them in South America. Everywhere you will find them, and stories passed down throughout the centuries. So, did it explode onto the scene throughout the 20s? And I think the gorilla at the beginning of the century, the past century, blew up. And I think that's where like the crypto field kind of started rolling. You know what I mean? And then we got more and more sightings. People were out looking. That's when that field just took off. You know what I mean? So yes, 100% Ed. I think there's no doubts. Thoughts on Nessie? If there's anything, Connie, thoughts on Nessie from the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie. Of course, it's supposed to be what is that again? Hold on, it's what is that? Oh man, I forget the name of Nessie. See, but it's a dinosaur type creature with long head. They even said it walked out onto land. And it's funny because I always got the picture of Loch Ness Monster when they said it walked up on land, almost like a mini brontosaurus, but like elephant size. It just because somebody drew their sighting, you can look it up. Just do Loch Ness Monster drawing sighting. It'll come up. It looks like something out of the Flintstones. Where they put them up. It cracks me up every time. But it's not so plausible that a dinosaur type creature like that with the long fins, and I forget the name. It's a Terra something. I don't know. I forget. If somebody knows, let me. Plesiosaurus. Thank you, Sam. What would I do without all of you guys in the darn? And Joe Skull says it too. Plesiosaurus. Yes. Thank you, Joe Skull and CM. What would I do without you guys? When I'm caught off guard and I need some help, you guys come to the rescue. It's not out of the realm, especially in the oceans, for something like that to exist because it's so vast. And if it can reach depths that we can't get to, they could be thriving. They could be, just because whales come to the surface of the water, okay, and we know about them. Same with dolphins and other types of fish. And well, a whale's a mammal, yes, but they will come to the surface of the water, and they're gigantic, especially the sperm whale, the blue whale. There are other creatures just as big that stay deeper in the water. And if a plesiosaurus is one of those things that, or a dinosaur type creature in the depths of the ocean. I mean, they can elude us, and we can't find them at all, right? But what gets me is the actual loch itself in Loch Ness. It is not very big when you're talking about plesiosaurus. Okay, it's very deep, but it's not very large. The theory goes that they think there's an opening somewhere deep at the floor that we just can't find. And it brings them in from perhaps a cave system that's large enough to let them go from the ocean into the loch. And it seems plausible, but I've seen plenty of expeditions, and I think an area like that, it can be found, the opening, I'd say. But who knows? It's a theory. There's also a theory that there's kind of a time portal there too, and they come in and out. So again, theories galore. But the one thing we don't have is actual creatures. Okay. When it comes to cryptozoology, it's the one thing that's got to drive us all crazy, right? Not that I'm a cryptozoologist, but maybe amateur. I don't know, whatever. Maybe not even that. Maybe I'm just silly. Anyways, it's the one thing that drives us nuts, that we don't have some of these creatures. Some have been. Listen, Tasmanian devil, Tasmanian wolf, Tasmanian tiger. There are pictures of those. And I do believe, don't quote me, but that there was one filmed early on in the earlier part of the century. Not this one, the last one. Anyways, we're already 2023. That's what's so crazy about this. Werner Herzog did a documentary about the monster. Werner Herzog? I'll have to check that out. It's a sturgeon at Loch Ness. Most sure about that. A sturgeon. Well, again, people said, listen, you can, if you get the right angle of some of these floating logs that come up, in the water, and you snap that picture just right, I've seen people duplicate that. So is it just something? If it wasn't for the eyewitness reports of actually seeing the creature come up out of the water or to the bank of the water, close enough to see the face, then it may just be disregarded altogether. The fact that we have Lake Opatoma, what's the other one up in New York, New Jersey? But there's a similar creature up there too that, they say is a plesiosaur, but who knows? Anyways, let's see, get to the other one. Black Roses, people seeing things when hunting they can't explain. The fact there is so much light pollution, you get away from the cities and you can see so much of the night sky. The point there, Black Roses, is yes, 100%. There are people, again, just take a scientist, and you know what? There isn't a whole lot of them out there that are doing the research that we need done to find, like, say, creatures. Like, a scientist goes into and is allowed so much time in the Amazon to look for different types of species of plants, trees, insects. Think of how very few are allowed to do that to begin with. And secondly, how many are actually out there doing it? So very few, but the ones that do get out there and do that, and they're looking for different species of, say, frog, they're just focusing in on toads and frogs, and they're in the Amazon. They'll come back with like 10 different species we found, or they'll come across other animals that they're like, we have no idea what this is. It takes researchers to go out and look for them to find them. And the people who do go out are a lot of times shocked and will actually have stories of encounters with Bigfoot, other types of creatures. You can ask any researcher who does go out and look for like extinct, like I said, in the Amazon or Congo or whatever. They will tell you they hear noises that they don't sound like any apes they've ever heard of before. A lot of them sound like screams, the usual Bigfoot scream that sounds a little vocally like a human, but a monkey, a primate. It's just very interesting. And the night sky, I mean, listen, yeah, you go out to where there's no light pollution and you look up and you see the Milky Way. Oh my God, it's a dream of mine to get out someplace like that as many times as I can with night vision and just look up in the sky. I've seen other people do it, and the things you will see move around the sky is it's amazing, and it gets you thinking. But there's too much light pollution in the big cities, so it's not easy to find what you're looking for. Got off restrictions today. Dino, you're doing. Thank you. Sweet, missed you in the chat. The Megalodon. Yeah, that's another one. 75% of the earth covered by water. Yes, Ed. That's exactly my point. It's just too much water, right? I mean, just imagine what's there. And the thing is, it's hard for us to get into the deepest parts of the ocean. We don't have the equipment to do it. It's not like we can just take a giant ship. That would be awesome. And if we can and dive as deep as we want, it would be crushed. But anyways, I'm not sure how deep the deepest submarine can go, but I'd be interested to know that. Let's see. People didn't believe in the giant squid until one washed up on the shore. Exactly, Jody. Mothman. Yes, we've talked about that a bit. Again, I think Mothman is a bit more paranormal. There was a similar creature to the Mothman that was filmed. Whether it's a hoax, there's one video that's definitely a hoax. During 911, when the helicopters were in the sky, there is one scene. Listen, there's a couple fake scenes that we know are fake, but there's one of an image of a Mothman type creature off in the distance flying, and that it looks awfully real, and the sources seem to check out, and the person who took it checked out. But anyways, that's, yeah, again, another separate issue. But happy birthday, pup. Is it your birthday, Cyber Pup? Happy birthday to you. Mothman and Bigfoot are interesting. Yeah, I mean, listen, we know Bigfoot's interesting, but Mothman, whole different level. That's for sure. I'm eventually getting to your guys's. I'm way behind. Holy Moses, the Yahweh in Australia. Yeah, different names everywhere. Bat Squatch. Oh yeah. See, I'm way far behind. Look at the condors. They are huge. Yes, and we've got giant buzzards here that are just as big as the condors, and their wingspans go up. But it's nothing like the Thunderbird. Thunderbirds are supposed to have, wingspans of 20 to 30 feet long, and they're just, giant birds. But you would think you'd be finding those, but I think to myself, okay, the Northeast Ohio area here, there is a large population of eagles, a pretty large population. They were once at the brink of being an endangered. They were an endangered species at one point up over here, and now they're thriving. I've never seen an eagle in my life, and I've been to the areas where they're supposed to be. Okay. it it's hard to find. Again, you got to go out and look and put in the effort. Thunderbirds were likely real. Eddie's Gaming 986. I kind of agree with you, and might believe that there may be still some form of Thunderbirds out there, but maybe not. I don't know. Again, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Let's see. Derek Galloway, you're right, David. Cho visited the Congo and the Pygmy tribe. There, talk about the dinosaurs. Mokele Membe, yeah, that's it. Is what they called the dinosaur there. Yes, that is exactly it. The Mokele Membe. I'm trying to say. But yes. There you go. Jersey Devil, and similar to the Mothman. I think the Jersey Devil was similar, and if seen, was supposed to bring upon some kind of bad, occurrence. When I was a child, I was brought up, and I was told, if you ever see an angel outside of the house, listen, I don't know why you would tell a kid this, but it means that somebody is going to pass away. And it wasn't me, but it was my brother, who he was looking out the window. He was maybe, like 6 years old. He was like maybe 6 years old, but I remember him. I remember the day he was looking outside, and he goes, look. And my uncle was babysitting me at the time. And he says, look across the street. Who's that lady? And, my uncle was going, shoot, don't worry about it. Because he was reading his comic books, So I'm like, what did you see? What's going on? He goes, I go over to the window and I'm looking at, with it. I go, I don't see nothing. And he said, it was right there, standing right there. And there was a field there right next to where this big house stood. Nothing. I say big house like it's a big, spooky, scary house. It was an ordinary house, but it was a big house. And it stood there right kind of like on top of the hill. And there was a big open like yard there. And he said it was pointing up over by where the pigeons were. And I seen the pigeons, but I didn't see no woman or no angel. He said it was all white. It was a woman. She looked like she was in a big nightgown like my mom would wear, and was pointing at the house. And then we woke up the next day, and we found out that the woman in the house passed away that night. True story. If I get my brother here, which I'm working on still, get my brother here, he can relay the story. Yes, it happened. And was it an angel? Was it a guardian of some sort? Just who knows? I don't know. But it's a story that I can pass on, that I trust that he's seen it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting. Not so much cryptid, but something interesting, that's for sure. Let's see. Sounds like one of our owls, they get big and ornery at Owl Squatch and Owl Squatch. Well, you know what? They call it that. I think the Owl Man gets confused with the Mothman, the Jersey Devil, and even though the Mothman and Jersey Devil, those were separate incidents. Owlman and such creatures, even the Thunderbird, they're all thrown in together with them, that group of cryptids. For some reason, I'm not sure, because they're all technically a little bit different, but I don't know. Anyways, South American birds grew quite large. One had over 22-foot wingspan. Riding the thermal currents north could have been Eddie's Gaming. Yeah, there is. I forget the name of the bird. It's a real bird, and its wingspan's like 22 feet long. It looks like a seagull, but yeah, an albatross. Albatross. Thank you. There you go. Albatross for sure. Roger Max. Hey, Roger, what's going on, man? Listen, I got tons of cool stories. I know we've been almost, well, let me tell one more cool story here. Holy Moses, thank you guys. Listen, thank you guys for chiming in the chat with questions and facts and keeping the conversation going for an hour and a half. It's almost the bottom of the hour. If anything, it was a good discussion, right? It was great to talk about. Listen, one of these nights I need to just do my ghost stories from my family's history. I think I need to just do a stream on that because so much has happened. I don't know how many of you have heard them before in my paranormal streams, but there's a lot of stuff. Not to mention, again, I don't get into what I'm capable of. I am a healer and an empath. I've astral traveled. I know I've just got done talking to Agi Nost. I don't talk about it much because most people think you're crazy, think you're nuts. I'm not a medium, although I do dabble in the tarot, which is just an instrument of me to do what psychics and mediums do. I can create a connection with somebody, okay, because I am an empath. And me, I think it more so it deals with the energy of me and the energy of the person. I've always had the ability to pull from an individual what I need to in the form of energy. I know this sounds crazy. Is this Dino talking? Dino does trivia nights, and Dino does movie discussions on giallo films and such. But yes, it's always been a part of my life, which it's really keeps and stays with me most of the time. The only times I do open up is on paranormal shows like this, and depending on who I'm talking to. So there's a lot that I can get into spiritually. I've done it with Dennis. We've done it on this channel with RTN. Hi, Boy Donuts, buddy. Hi, Boy Donuts. I think I sent out enough, all of us, healing energy to get him feeling better than he was. I think he was on a path that he couldn't get back from anyways. And it's sad. I know it's sad talking about our good friend Dennis, RTN Productions. But it is something that I do when it comes to the healing. And I've done this for many, many years. And there are certain exercises you can do, which, I'll do a whole stream on this one night. I think it'll be an interesting program. This was an interesting and fun stream, Dino. Thank you all, mods. Thank you, CM. I'll see you. Take care. More horror-themed stuff coming up real soon. That's for sure. Let's see. Is there a couple more things that I missed? Let me see. If you want to see some Bigfoot, go to Jennings State Forest in Middleburg, Florida. So much unexplored woods there. Very cool. Those birds were Ice Age mega fauna, now extinct, says Eddie's Gaming 986. There were these soldiers that flew over the Congo around 60s, and they took a picture of a large snake. Yes, Ethan, I remember that. Let's see. One of the samples she did had a 89% match to human. Derek Alloway, yes, with the Bigfoot hair samples. Very interesting stuff. Travis DeLuca. Yes, I'm not even going to be able to catch up tonight, you guys, because I'm going to turn this off in a few minutes. But Yeah, I hope Emily's doing fine. I hope Edward Stewart is doing fine. Missing him from the chat, going through a lot. I know you keep in contact with him, Connie. Let me know if there's any updates, please. And Emily. Definitely hope everything's going well with them. Hello, everyone. Guess what? I'm on my new laptop right now. Fingers, Streamlabs. Travis DeLuca. Awesome, awesome. Figuring out Streamlabs so I can start streaming. Been at it all day. Streamlabs gets a little bit more difficult, Travis DeLuca, but good luck with it. You could always reach out if you need help. I'm interested in what you're getting on Streamlabs for. What channel again? This whole setup process is pretty difficult. A lot of aggravation. Good thing my fiance. Okay, good. CERN one just not want. Yeah, see. Wait, CERN one, but now they want to make it bigger. Yes, Anonymous, exactly. There's not a bunch of CERNs that I know of on the planet. It's something that it's a big undertaking and a lot of money to put together. Anyways, CERN is like the Tower of Babel all over again. Yep, you can go many different directions. Switzerland is already 17 miles long. They are going to mess around and destroy us all. Derek, yeah, hugs Basson. They said they proved it exists. String theory or waves and frequencies or even bubbles. Exactly, Anonymous. Again, thrown off a little bit tonight because I wasn't prepared, but that's another subject matter that I would definitely love to get into, like the string theory and just frequencies and multiverses and all of that stuff, time travel. And if you believe in one of those things, string theory, any of that, then there's a concrete theory for time travel. Anyways, yeah, before I get deep into everything again here, the reason finds Bigfoot laughing over. Okay, let's see. Hello, everyone. John Doe, good to see you. I think the Roswell crash was a past civilization from Earth coming home back after exploring space. WWM, listen, it's just as plausible as anything else. Am I going to say, no, I don't believe that because I believe something else? Listen, I believe there's been so many sightings of the gray aliens, which is what, Roswell, the crash itself, and then the subsequent bodies that were found are the typical gray type aliens. Although I thought there was something spoken of them being green, not gray. I could be wrong, but too many sightings over all these years of the same type of species, and I think they've been around here a long time, and I think one did just so happen to be, again, there's theory whether it was shot down or it crashed because it was shot down, or it just crashed because of something went awry in the ship. Who knows? I don't know. A discussion for another night. Oh God, I am so sorry, guys. I missed so many questions. I never even thought I would be able to have these many questions for me tonight. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Michael A. Sullivan is here. If I miss any names too, I am so sorry, but holy Moses, I was so far back. Dino, you host a very good late night show. Ethan Turo, listen, thank you very much. Started off a little rocky because I was thrown off a bit, but yeah, just a discussion. Maybe we'll have more of these, huh? How about that? And maybe I'll be a little bit more prepared, and but we'll definitely be having more paranormal shows for sure. But with that said, you guys, I am going to get off here and get ready for the overnight stream tonight. Tales of the Texas Rangers stream number 2. Hopefully you guys all enjoy that. Look for upcoming shows posted on the channel. Please hit that thumbs up button. Comment afterwards. Let me know what you think. Just say hi in the comments. And I will catch you guys next time. Okay.